Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
We are back for part 3. And this is, for those of you that, I don't know why you would watch part 3 before part 1, but just in case you have, part 1 was meeting Brandon Anderson and learning all about his style of music, his favorite food, or his favorite meal. So you definitely should watch part 1 because that is something. Part 2 was kind of like a bitch session, talking about issues, problems that indie artists are facing these days. And this one is kind of a solution or suggestions on maybe what could help with some of the things we talked about in part 2. So we are back with Brandon, and what should we start with? Should we start? You start with something.
No, I think we should kind of start with, let's start with just kind of like solutions in general, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about some solutions and things that we could kind of come about. I'm going to start with the artists first, and then we'll get into the venues.
All right.
Works. So I was thinking, when it comes to the artists, obviously, I spoke a little bit about it on the last part, but I think some solutions to artists and upcoming artists especially is be very vocal about everything you do, everything. So I don't care because like a lot of times, believe it or not, like people want to see the human side of you as an artist, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times, like, you grow and it's like, oh, you're this amazing artist. People love you. They love your music, but then they don't know that other human side of you that you're not. And I think, like, taking people for a ride is an awesome way to, like, gain people, to gain followers, because people just want to like see what do you do on a day-to-day basis, mm-hmm. right? Like we know already, like you're a musician. That's why they're following you, right? But like, what do you do? How's your lifestyle? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times like you can relate to an average person. It's like, wow, I love this artist because they, I don't know. Like, I do this weird thing, right? My mom kind of got me to do this. But, like, every time I put, like, socks where I have to wash socks, like, I always, like, pin them together. Because, like, my socks always used to just get, like, lost in the washer and dryer. Always. So, like, I pin them together. And, like, you know what I mean? It could be, like, little super goofy things like that where it's like, oh, my God, like, I do that, too. Or that's a great idea. I love, like, and it kind of almost creates a little bit of a bond between your fans and you. Yep. And I think that that's huge for artists. And not only that, like, I think you just need to constantly, like, promote yourself. As I was speaking in the last part, if you have a show coming up, you just gotta hype it everywhere. Just, like, yeah, I'm doing this show. And just sometimes it's okay to be a little, like, braggadocious about it and be like, yeah, no, maybe I have a show with other artists, but, like, really, I think we're going to put on the best show. I mean, I know so-and-so is playing with us, but you got to come for us. Like, we're going to we're going to actually rock that house. You know what I mean? And I think it's cool to, like, be that way sometimes, because, like, people really want to see that confident side. Like, oh, my God, if I come to see them, they're going to put on a hell of a show.
Right.
They're really going to rock it. Like, the way they're talking, like, it's going to be crazy. Like, I got to see this in person. And I think that's going to get people to come out, and that's going to get you followers, that's going to get you more of a fan base, and that's going to open up doors, Unfortunately, like I was saying on the last part, there are certain venues that want to look at, numbers, unfortunately. I think it's dumb. But when they see certain numbers and they're like, oh, yeah, come perform. Well, unfortunately, how are you going to get those numbers, right? You got to keep promoting and promoting and promoting yourself. And delivering. I think that's a big thing. You can't just promote yourself and then you get to the show and, it's lame. You can't just not put on a fun show for the people. So I think if you can constantly not only promote but deliver, and then you can prove that you deliver by having that recording and say, like, here's some snippets of us performing on the last show.
Yep. But
this next show is going to be even better. Mm-hmm. And just keep, bumping that up. I think it's like a clear way of you're gaining confidence with people
Mm-hmm.
because they know if I go here, they're gonna put on a great show. They might want to just chill in, like, honey, we're just hanging out for the evening, just sitting on our couch watching TV. But maybe they know that you already, maybe they've been to your show before, and maybe they know you put on a good show. And they're like, but you know what we could do? We could go to that show because we know we're going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's going to be fun. So instead of them sitting on the couch watching TV, they might come to your show, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that that's like, that's going to be a really big thing for artists. At least that's how I feel.
Okay.
So that would be solutions I would give upcoming artists.
Now do me a favor before we continue. Spell what did you say? Braggadocious?
Oh.
That's a great word.
That is a really great word. You know what? I can attempt it. I'm probably going to...
Did you make that word up?
I definitely did not make that. No, that's a word.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, being braggadocious. Yeah, it's definitely a word. I didn't make that up, but it's a really cool word.
It is a cool word.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically it's just kind of like having that confidence
Mm-hmm.
and just a little bit of like bragging, like, hey, I'm that artist, like I'm that
Okay.
one.
Braggadocious. I like that.
Braggadocious. Be a little braggadocious a little bit, you know?
Okay.
It's totally cool. Hey, man.
All right. Well, then you don't have to spell it because we can figure it out.
Braggadocious. Try your best to type it in Google. It'll pop right up.
Docious.
Docious.
Yeah. There you go. You can find it.
There you go.
Now, yes, all very good advice. What other advice do you have?
I mean, that's like really like advice for the artist. I guess we could kind of get into like maybe the venue side of stuff. But I'm gonna need some help with the venue side of stuff.
Okay.
But I do have some thoughts on what venues could do. And let's just say if I were running a venue, here's the things that I would constantly do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'll kick it off and then you just jump in. But
Okay.
I think like putting it in a venue sense of what are you? You have to first off make a name for yourself of what you want to be as a venue, right? Okay. So, do you want to be a bar, but you have musicians and sometimes just for some entertainment? Do you want to be a music venue, but you have a bar as well?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think right off the bat, I think a lot of venues themselves don't even know the answer to that question. Because they like both, but they haven't made a name for themselves. It's not like you're going to really attract people that want to come to a bar to drink, and then you just have some side music, and it's just some entertainment. Or, hey, we really about this music. Like, you want to come here as an artist to perform.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have this great bar, you know what I mean? And that's also going to bring people in, you know? So it's like, where do you put yourself as a venue? You got to think about that. Like, within anything that you do, I think you have to, like, really sit down and, before opening a business, you have to say, what am I? What is this business?
Yep.
What does it need to be known for? And I think a lot of businesses don't even do that. But let's talk about the venue. So we're just going to go in the same thing as like we are not just a bar, but we are a music venue. So let's think about it that way. So I have a venue. It's a music venue. I want artists to come in. So how do I get artists to come and perform? And how do I get people to come in to watch these artists, right? So the first thing is I 100% would have an open mic night. That would be a definite. Now, it may not even be an open mic night. It may be open mic 5, 6 o'clock. Well, people are just getting off work. But it may be, say, like, in the morning on a weekend or something. Or It could be an open mic, you know, sometime where, obviously, most of the population is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And that will bring just people who may not be serious, obviously, about their craft when it comes to music, but it's a chance for them to kind of go in and see other people and enjoy your venue. And, hey, I know I could just do this just for fun and I'm having a good time. That may also continue to bring people to your place just by having an open mic night, right? And then, not only that is, I think that, you know, with having that open mic night, you never know what is going to come through.
Right.
Maybe you have someone that is like amazing that comes through an open mic night, and you're like, hey, we would love to have you come again. Maybe we have a show coming up. Maybe you can, be a part of this show.
Yep.
And you already know they're good because you just watched them perform at an open mic night. You would have never known them if they didn't come and do something at an open mic night.
Yep.
So I think that would be, right off the bat, I would have one of those times. Like, I would definitely have an open mic night. Then I would 100%, start off small. Let's just say I'm a new music venue, right? I don't have a name for myself already, so I'm just new to the block, right? I would start off small. Maybe I would start off with like the $10 to $15. You guys can come in and perform bands, or just in general, like having people come and it's like $15 cover, I think that would be a good way because it is a little cheaper and more people could afford to come. And then once they're in, that's when you got to hook them, right? Mm-hmm. So now they're in, they paid like the $10, $15 cover charge, whatever, and they're here. So there's things you can't screw up on, right? We'll start with the beverage thing. Now, whether you serve alcohol or don't serve alcohol, I 100% recommend to serve some kind of drinks while people are watching people perform. Now, if it's like an alcoholic place where like they serve like a bar and they serve alcohol, you can't be the new person on the block making your prices ridiculous. You can't. you can't act like you're every other place around you going, no. You got to start off small, and even if that means you don't have a huge wide variety of drinks, like you got to start off small, and you got to just have some. You may have to do some A/B testing on what people like more. But you got to start off at a small selections of like drinks and specials, and you got to keep those prices like a little bit lower. Like if you go to say the person right down the street from you, you look at their venue, look how much they're serving, or how much their drink specials and all that stuff cost, and you got to say, oh, I have to beat that. I got to beat that because now you are trying to fight to be on that level, and the only way that that's going to happen is if people know, why would I go here and spend all this money on drinks when I could just go to this venue, and they got a lot of drinks, but they're cheaper, and I can have more, and I can have a better time. So I'm going to try to position myself to where I can make the drinks, and when I make the drinks, I'm actually still getting some kind of a profit with these drinks. And I'm going to have it at a level where it's better than the person that is right up the street from me or the next venue. So that's going to already say, and then you know what? Not only that, I'm going to promote that. I'm going to say, that cranberry and vodka you like, hey, we might not use this vodka or whatever, but you can say, our cranberry and vodka is like a couple bucks cheaper. Mm-hmm. Come drink, come, this is where you want it. This is where you got to get your drinks. You got to come here. And like you gotta like tell people like, hey, we have the best drink specials. We have the best this, and just keep saying like, you gotta obviously deliver, but you have to keep saying like, we're doing it better than this venue, because that venue's been there, they're well established. You're just coming up, so you gotta be like, look, we know it's great, they're a great venue. We're doing it better. We're doing it better. We got this. So I think that's step one, right? That's the solution. The next solution is when it comes to artists and getting artists in your venues. I think that you need to make it clear, maybe just starting off, you want to make sure you pay your artists. Obviously, you would love to make sure you pay your artists fairly. That is the ultimate goal, I think, of a music venue. You want to make sure when the artist comes, they're getting paid fairly, because that's going to attract the more and more bigger artists. And that means more and more people are going to come to your venue. That's how it works. So I think right off the bat, you want to have, you clearly want to work with local artists. I think having local artists that are somewhat, have a little bit of a name for themselves, why not have them come perform for you? Now, obviously, if national artists that are coming and touring, that would be great. Hey, have them too. But I think getting your foot in the door, kind of going out, maybe scouting a few local artists, and just say, hey, would you like to come perform? We're trying to put on this like show. Would you like to come perform? We could pay you this. We know it's not a ton, but we're just up and coming. Let them know what they're getting into, like as an artist, like because I would feel, hey, I may, as a local artist, I may say, oh yeah, that's not a lot of money, but you know what? This venue is doing a lot of good stuff, and they're being honest with me from the start, and they're saying, hey, we're new, we really want to just get some talent in, and we saw your music, we like your music, we would love for you to perform. Maybe I'll go, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to make as much, but I'm here to support it. I'm here to support it.
And they didn't say play for free.
Right, and they didn't say play for free.
Yeah.
Don't throw the oh yeah, just free. Come on. We don't have any money to give you. That's definitely not the way to go for artists. And you know what's going to happen is that artist is going to be like, can you believe so-and-so contacted me talking about come play for free? And then the other artist is going to go, yeah, I'm never going to perform there. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it just keeps
word's going to get around.
and around.
Yeah, word's going to get around. So no, you want to give them something. You want to give them something.
Yeah.
But that something doesn't have to be a ton. You don't have to go broke. Like, you have to think strategically. The ultimate goal is to have those headliners, but you're just starting, right? So you can't just get headliners off the bat. You have to get a name for yourself as a venue. Once you establish that name, now we're at a point where, yeah, you got to start charging more for your covers, right? Maybe you jump the drinks up a little bit, not too much, but definitely jump them up a bit. Make sure that you're still making a profit, and nothing's breaking the bank. I think that you at this point in time, you're already going to have your regulars, right? Mm-hmm. So you already kind of know day to day around about what you're going to make in general. Even if there's nobody coming through, you're going to have regulars that are just going to continue to always come through at that point. And then I think at that point you have to sit down and go, okay, well, where do I see this venue going now? Because now we're getting a name for ourselves. We're having better artists come through. We're able to pay them more. Our head is above water. But what's the next level? What's the next level as this? And I think people, honestly, right now, this is where people get stuck at. This is their sticking point because they're so used to having it a certain way where we know we want these artists. We know we want this price for the drinks and we're going to do this. And they don't think beyond that. They're just like, nope, we're kind of just coasting. And then coasting turns into, well, now you're complacent. And other people are doing it differently than you. And now other people are moving from your place to the other place. Now you're losing a little revenue. So I think that that's where a lot of places kind of get stuck at because now they're not even thinking about changing and how they can continue to go with the times but keep elevating their business up. They make it to this level and they're just satisfied with it. And I don't think I would ever just be that kind of person where I'm just like, oh yeah, I make, I don't know, let's just throw a number out there. I made, $5-10 grand in revenue, and okay, I'm cool with that, and that's it. You gotta always keep thinking, what's the next thing I could do? How's this company doing, and how are they doing it better than I'm doing it now, and how can I up that?
Well, yeah,
and that's where I'm at.
I think on both sides, artists and venues, the music industry as a whole needs to use consultants more, like other businesses do. Other businesses have consultants come in and do a mid-year check, a beginning check when they're just open their doors, a mid-year check, end-of-year check, Where are you? What have you done? Let's see the numbers.
Right.
Maybe, and same with artists, where are you? Where did you perform? How many times did you perform? Where do you want to perform? And a consultant can come in and sit and look at everything and see what you don't see. Maybe that dish that you, as a venue, that you serve all the time because everyone orders it. That's great that everyone orders it, but looking at the numbers, you might find that that is the one dish that's killing your bottom line. So then just, you'll figure out how to work that dish, the ingredients better, so you can still offer the dish, but it's not killing your bottom line. Same with an artist. Did they play everywhere they could play, or did they play too many places for free? That's going to hurt their bottom line. travel, gas, lodging, if that's a thing, Um, so now you need to shift. You need to, and as an artist, know your asking price.
Right.
Know your asking price and give yourself um, wiggle room. So if this is your asking price and the venue's like, oh, no way, but we can do this, does that still fit within your wiggle room? Like, have an asking price and have the absolute minimum that you will accept.
Right.
And somewhere in there, and if the venue or festival or whatever can't land within those numbers for you, it's okay. Move on. Just go to the next and the next and the next. Because there will be someone out there that will be like, yeah, we can pay that. And, and then once you get that payment, you're good to, you're on the upswing. Because other bigger venues that can afford to pay those prices will be like, oh yeah, he played there. I know they pay this much. Boom, boom, boom. And it just keeps going. I guess my gist is don't rely to do it all yourself. Like you said, a team. And, it's hard to have one person do everything. So I find that speaking to some of these, when I finally do get through to somebody at a venue, I find that the booking person is also their bar manager or the waitress or the hostess. So by the time they get done doing the job that they were hired for, and then they're inundated with all of these emails, voicemails, all that stuff. Well, they already worked for the day. And I've talked to some places where these people do not get paid for both. They get paid to be a hostess. All the booking and everything is not paid for. Well, I mean, think about how tired you are on a normal day. And then you're supposed to go home and do this on top of it.
Right.
Like, that is a separate job. As artists know, trying to book yourself places, that's a whole freaking job. So, same on the venue side. I feel for them, but answering back, even if it's like, oh, we don't really work with that genre, or just any kind of response, a real response, that is a whole job. So that needs to be split up, or bring someone in part-time, or do something. It's very frustrating with no response. Ghosting, if you will. People don't like being ghosted in any other part of their life. And these are people, artists, are people that this is their job. This is what they do. This is what they love. It's a skill that they work very, very hard at. Long hours, sometimes longer hours than their day job, And like Brandon said, they don't all hope, they're not all wishing to be the next Tyler the Creator or Prince or Michael Jackson. Not everybody wants that. But what they do want is to perform and enjoy performing and put smiles on people's faces. Well, that takes a lot of work to do. You don't walk into a pizza shop and be like, yeah, let me have that pizza for free. That it will never happen. So to look at a musician and say, yeah, just perform for free for a few hours, that should never ever happen. That's not, they're not free entertainment. If you can't tell, that kind of fries me. But that being said, I understand. I've owned businesses before. I realize it takes a lot of money just to open doors. Takes a lot of time. Takes finding the right staff that all fits cohesively together and shows up and, all that stuff. So you try and do what you can to conserve your money and still provide the same thing. But honestly, if you're one of the venues out there that doesn't pay very much or has musicians play for free, then that's when you need to sit and figure out a budget. And it's okay that you don't have music every night of the week or every weekend of the month. Budget it out. If A band is, you really want some. Ugh, I just lost my train of thought. If a band that you want to play there keeps telling you no because they're asking prices like 1,500, $2,000 because it's an 8-piece band, then sit down and figure out your budget. Figure it out. Maybe you take the sales from, whatever it is, and you have music one night, once a month. And then you can start paying those bands what they're asking. You know, if you're having music on a Wednesday night and no one's in there, and then you expect the band to bring in people on a Wednesday night at 7 p.m., well, if it's already not happening for your venue, having a band there at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday, it's still not going to happen. But then you're going to blame the band that they brought no one. How about not have music on a Wednesday night because it's your slowest night of the week? If that's the case. But on the other hand, which I don't know what universe this would happen in, if Wednesday is your busiest night of the week, and it outshines Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then have music on Wednesdays and not have music on the weekends. You gotta work with people, because just as you don't want a band coming in and bringing 3 people with them, 3 fans with them, well, that same band doesn't want to show up at a venue and see 2 people sitting at the bar. That's kind of, you're both disappointed, you're both sad, and then you both don't want to work with each other again. And that just, so got to start talking to each other, got to start being realistic about what is really happening as an artist and as a venue. You have one super solid night a week, that's when you should have your music. Forget about all the other nights. Just just have music in the background on the radio or, speakers or whatever, and or have other types of entertainment. But as an artist, do yourself a solid, because once you play somewhere for free in a city, probably any city, that is going to spread like wildfire. Venues talk to each other. Artists talk to each other. If a venue's like, oh yeah, Brandon played the other night. He was awesome. Oh, how much did you pay him? Oh, I didn't pay him. Oh, okay. So he'll play for free. Well, now Brandon's getting all these phone calls, but whoop-de-ding, because he hasn't made a dime. Right? It's, I think people just need to talk to each other a whole lot more. Be very honest with each other. Be honest. A band's asking, don't tell them they're asking too much. Be like, oh, we can't afford that right now, but let's talk in a couple months. And when a couple months comes, actually answer that person's email or phone call or whatever. However, if you say, oh, I never pay attention to my email, text me. But then you don't answer your text. Don't do that.
Yeah. Wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, it's a wonder more musicians aren't just flat out bald from ripping their hair out. It's a lot. I liked, AI. I think I'm on the side of, if you use it as a tool, I think it's really good. But if you're using it to be a whole, like you said, to actually write the songs for you, do the persona, all that stuff, no, that's not cool. But if you use it as a tool because you're a one-man show or somebody, something like that, I think that's really awesome and helpful. What else? Have a budget. It's hard, I know. You're working and you're trying to do this. No one said you had to have a budget for a whole team all at once. But call around. Find people that you do want to eventually work with. Find out the cost. And then work toward that. So you can eventually add them to your team or have them be part of your team. But, you can't keep... you don't want venues to not pay you and play constantly for free. So when someone helps you with marketing, advertising, content, stuff like that, you expect them to do that for free. Don't do that. Like, everything has a cost associated. Um, and again, it's all about being honest. If someone says this is going to cost $150, oof, I cannot do that right now. But you really want to work with that person, tell them. Be like, I really do want to work with you. I cannot afford that right now at all. How long will that price be good? You know, and then you have a goal. And maybe that person will be like, okay, listen, we can do, they might have a solution for you. They might have a payment plan. They might let you split it in half, you know, or they'll be like, hey man, just come back to me when you're ready and we'll honor that price. You know, but nobody knows that if people don't, you know. If you run your mouth and be like, oh, they're too expensive, da 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 da, well, they have bills to pay just like you. So, I'd really like to see the word free kind of go away from venues or all the way through. Or barter. You know, that's an option.
Yeah.
Maybe you have something you could barter. I don't know what that would be. You would have to use basic per scenario, right? But I've been in the industry for quite a while, not as long as you, but I've seen a lot. I've experienced quite a lot, and I would like to see the music industry, like, it's growing, but I'd like to see some of these, like, universal issues kind of start going by the wayside. People talking to each other, not yelling or tearing each other down. Like, if you don't like another artist, that's cool. Don't tear them down. And please keep all your, another piece of advice would be, keep your personal and your artist pages separate on social media. And that comes from an advertising background of over 20 plus years. You want to keep those two things separate. People that are fans of yours want to hear about, you know, like, you know, your everyday or your daily life or your new songs or, you know, that stuff. They do not want to hear that you have beef with your wife and she's, you know, she's a blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And nobody.
They're not there for that trauma.
Yeah, that's,
yeah.
You know, and if it's you know, and you kind of want to be careful because if you're an artist and you have kids, maybe you don't want to put pictures of your kids up on your artist page. That's a personal preference. But, you know, maybe you don't want to do that. Keep it separate. Keep it on your personal page. Try not to crisscross the two. You know, but I don't want to, I try and look up some artists sometimes too. I don't want to see all the fighting. I don't want to hear about, you know, or read about this or your breakup or, nobody wants that. I just wanted to look to see maybe where you were playing next.
Right.
Or, you know, what your latest song is or your latest video. That is something heavily to think about because too many people throw, I don't know how to say it. They throw hands on social media.
Yeah, that's one way of saying it.
Yeah, like, again, talk to each other. Pick up the phone, call each other. Don't be ripping each other apart on social media because that
First off, I think that's not even a good thing to do in general. Like, you want to keep that kind of stuff off of social media in general. Just Just words of advice. Like, try not to, like, really go crazy like that.
But throwing hands at someone on social media, all that does is make you look bad. Yeah. People get tired of it real quick. They may not say that they're tired of it, but they're tired of it. They don't want to see it, or they're like, oh, this person's at it again. Like, let it, and you don't have to let it go. Just don't put it on social media.
Right.
Don't put it on the internet anywhere.
Right.
Because it's true. It will be out there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 9 times out of 10, that person you're bitching about, they're not going to answer you anyways.
Right.
Not on social media. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
It just save yourself and everyone else some eyeball grief.
Right. Yeah.
But I have thoroughly. This is my first 3-part series. I think it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah. So to wrap up this, tell us. Well, I already know. Tell them how they can find you.
Oh man, yeah, you can check me out like a lot of different places. Obviously, I'm also on Facebook. If you just type in, it's gonna be weird, but if you just type in KTM Casey Blue, you'll find me. Also, I have like my artist page. It'll pop up and say actually BA for my artist, but KTM Casey Blue is the way to find me. You can find me on SoundCloud. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. My latest project release is out there, so you guys can take a listen. I'm also on YouTube. Same deal, KTM Casey Blue. Now I will say this.
What is it, KTM?
KTM Casey Blue, so CASEYBLUE.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna lie, my YouTube channel is everywhere. So I have like a specific playlist that is like just music stuff. But if you really want to know more about me and just some wacky stuff, definitely check out my YouTube channel, and we'll definitely kind of skip that. Oh yes, and we got a special guest. We got a special guest coming. Hey, Sloth Man.
Isn't he cool?
Sloth Man.
Now tell him what you're going to do with him, probably.
All right, so Sloth Man, he's going to travel the world, so he's going to have his own little channel and his own little social media, and he's going to go on different adventures. If you like just kind of listening to like some short stories, it'll all be like audio related. You can kind of sit back and listen. But yeah, he's going to have his own little thing going on, He's been hanging out with me. He's like, you know what? I need adventure. So I plan on doing a little something special for Sloth Man. And it's called Sloth Man Adventures. So yeah, he's awesome. And you should tell them that you are Slothman's personal stylist.
I am Slothman's personal stylist.
Yes.
I have crocheted all of the stuff. The hat, the logo. He has another hat that's like a bright blue.
There's another hat down, like it's sitting by the chair. I think actually all 3 of our hats are. But
this is his Slothman hat. And that's actually how I met Brandon. Wasn't through music. It was through styling, crocheting clothes for Slothman.
Yep.
For his Slothman adventures. But I'm glad I did. And I'm glad this has gone so well. So thank you, everyone. And now you know how to find Brandon and all his music. And to watch on what the Slothman Adventures will be on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. So, yep.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone,
Thanks.
for tuning in.
Definitely.
Bye.
Bye.